Welcome. Today I will be summarizing, paraphrasing, and sharing for the March 1st Al-Anon readings in Courage to Change and a little time for myself. Happy March. Rabbit, rabbit. We'll begin with the Serenity Prayer and 3 mindful breaths. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. It will take a moment to look this over. The question of the day is, in what ways do I deal with my fear? And the passage talks about this person's mind swirling, not being able to focus on anything, realizing that they're feeling fear, and they turn to their higher power. Meditation helps them. And while they're meditating, when they have those thoughts, when they have fearful thoughts, they acknowledge it and ask their higher power to take it. And when they come out of the meditation, they feel better and they move on with gratitude. Today's reminder that fear stagnates us. Meditation helps us communicate with our higher power and can help us to feel more serene, less fearful. The quote is from Discovering Choices, Recovery in Relationships. And it says, we become more confident and trusting with less anxiety and fear when we strengthen our relationship with our higher power. So in what ways do I deal with my fear? I've always heard in Al-Anon that fear is a lack of faith. In fact, that is exactly what this says. This was given to me at a meeting. We all picked a slogan out of a hat, and then we talked about it at the meeting. That was years and years ago. So that's why I always think whenever I'm experiencing fear that means that I'm not feeling my faith that I can trust my higher power, that I can do my work, I can do the legwork, I can do everything that's in my control, but after that I have to let it go and I have to give it to my higher power. And that's the faith part. And it helps me to alleviate fear. It's funny, this person mentions that they don't notice fear when they're focusing on someone else or in the future. I don't think I mentioned that part, but I always thought that fear was connected to not being present and worrying about the future. So apparently that is not true, or not true for everyone. So It's interesting. Oftentimes, if I feel frightened about something and I just ground myself, like really, like literally feel my feet on the floor and ask my higher power for help, I usually feel better. And I usually realize that there's nothing to be afraid of. And if I find that something lingers, something that might happen in the future, because right now I'm fine, right? Right now, you can see I'm fine, I'm safe, I'm good. So if I feel uncomfortable about something, I usually find for myself that it's something that may happen, may or may not. Usually not. I just have a very active imagination. And I've also heard that fear is a misuse of creative imagination. And I love that. Fear is a misuse of an act of a creative imagination. It's good, right? March 1st. We'll take a minute, look this over. I love the Zen proverb at the end of the reading. This passage is about knowledge and understanding things, and sometimes using the act of gaining knowledge as an excuse to avoid action. So this person is talking about falling into the trap of trying to analyze alcoholism. But this person says that alcoholism is an illogical disease and it's impossible to understand. But what we can do is accept the reality of our situation and act accordingly. This person also brings up an example of people in Al-Anon waiting for a really clear understanding of what their higher power is. However, many people, they can work their problem, work their program. They can make progress with their problem by working their program and just praying anyway, even if they're not sure who they're or what they're praying to, just believing that doing the work will help them. Today's reminder: information is not always the answer to the problem. In the Zen proverb, it says, paraphrasing, if you understand, it is what it is. If you don't understand, it is what it is. But when I read that, even though I think it's great and it made me laugh, I do think that like my perception has a huge impact on how I determine things to be. So it is what it is, but perception is everything. I can see the same thing, and depending on my mood or my frame of mind, it will look one way to me or it will look a completely different way to me. So I think it's important for me to make sure that I am keeping a close eye on my attitudes, my perceptions, my my intentions. Like my intention to be in the present, my intention to not make a problem where there isn't a problem, my intention to keep it simple and easy does it. That's important. And also, I think that it's important to do my due diligence and find out whatever information I feel like I need. But like this passage is saying, it's not a good excuse to keep from um, acting as it applies to our program, because we can do the work without fully understanding how it's working, specifically when it comes to our program. We'll close out with the Serenity Prayer and 3 mindful breaths. Here we go. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Sending you love. Take care.